been a while since I've done one of these videos, and I talk about in the video that I don't cycle through stuff enough. I'd rather actually use all this stuff for a good amount of time, for more than a year, to beat it up, to actually feel if it's working or not, instead of like, oh, every 6 months I'd buy a new helmet or buy an entire new wardrobe and then make one of these videos every 6 months. It'd be good for the affiliate money, but it's not really what I want to do. I want to actually ride with good stuff instead of like, oh, I have to get 2 helmets a year and I hate most of them, instead of just sticking with the one that I really like. So lots of good stuff that I actually like. Hopefully you'll find something you like as well. Thanks for being here on Patreon. Let's go. My friends, once again, it's time for an everything I wear while I mountain bike video. I don't do these very often because I don't change up my gear all the time. So it takes about a year for me to change up different knee pads and shoes and want to switch off of something that works to like experiment with something that might not work. So here's the results of that experiment over maybe more than a year now. Let's start with my Fox Speedframe Pro helmet. And everything in here will have a link in the description. If you buy this, I usually use affiliate links on Worldwide Cyclery or Amazon.com. If you buy something like this, I might make $5 off of it. So it's kind of cool. It's a win-win situation. I tell you if I like it or not. You buy it, I get a little cut. Everything keeps this channel going. And I'll have a little disclosure here at the bottom whether I bought it with my own money or if somebody gave it to me. I like me a white helmet. I like the aesthetics of it. I like that other people can see me if I'm laying down in a ditch and I'm just wearing all black clothes, that if I have this white helmet on, they'll be able to be like, what? Huh, what is that? I think I see something down here. Instead of being black on black on black and not being able to see, like, oh, someone needs a rescue. Haven't done much damage to this thing. I rarely touch my head to the ground. Let's keep it that way. So overall, I just got to talk about comfort. I think it's plenty comfortable. There's enough vent holes and all that stuff. It clicks in on the back just fine. But I was just riding with my buddy James, and he is bald, and he has this helmet as well, and it leaks. All his sweat just goes down his forehead, instead of if you have long hair, it can kind of wick back and go out the back. So maybe a bald person problem, but maybe this helmet problem, because he said his previous helmets never really did that. It's got MIPS technology built in, which makes it a little more expensive, but also means that impacts with rotational force are not as bad because the helmet kind of moves independently of the little plastic shell casing here. I cleaned this up recently with a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and it's looking really good. There were stickers, like FOX stickers here. They came off pretty easily before I cleaned it up. And this is kind of the main grody-ness factor. These were white when they first came, and I've kind of tried to wash them off a little bit, and it kind of works, it kind of doesn't. So you got your white straps, which will eventually turn brown. And it's got the Fidlock style magnetic latch system, which is always nice, and it's always weird when you first use it and you don't know how it works and you're like, oh, I'm trapped. At this point, I've had quite a few helmets, and I really like this one. I don't see any reason to change it or switch it up. It looks good, it feels good, I don't get any weird headaches or anything like that. So thumbs up to the old Speedframe Pro. Let's talk about sunglasses. I've had a lot of sunglasses over the past 10 years of mountain biking. Most of them I hate. Most of them I broke. Most of them I scratched up. Most of them are too dark. Most of them make my head hurt. I've just been on a rampage of, I'll find one that's really good, but it's $250, and then you break it and you're like, $250, come on. So at the moment, I am going with the Eddie Bauer sunglasses from Costco. $35. I've got 4 or 5 pairs of these. I've broken and scratched up a couple already, and I like them. Now goggles, on the other hand, they're usually pretty reliable. They don't make my head hurt. They're just goofy. They kind of press on my nose a little bit. It's just kind of weird to wear a big old goggle for a normal ride. But they get the job done the best. You're not going to get weird stuff in your eyes. They don't fog up unless you're in a really, really weird situation, like the EWS race at Whistler, they fogged up. And of course, you can switch out lenses very easily on these goggles, at least. The Smith Squad MTB Chroma Pop. I've had these for a long time, and they're pretty reliable, a little beat up, but I still wear them. My bike jersey of choice these days is from Kettle Mountain Apparel. It's run by my buddy Jeff from Worldwide Cyclery, and his whole ethos behind the brand is to give you mountain bike clothes that don't make you look like a Power Ranger.
I'm a medium and these fit me really well. I love the way they look. I love the way they feel. They got a little pocket in the back, which is too small for my big old XS iPhone that I have. I got the big old iPhone, but you can fit a couple things in here, like a little wallet or some money. And they also hide little fun inspirational quotes inside all of their apparel. My 2 pairs of kettle shorts are in the dryer right now, so we're gonna do a couple other things and get back to that and wait for them to finish. Let's talk about what's under the shorts instead. I've got these Pearl Izumi liner shorts. You know, you wear these instead of underwear. They have a little bit of padding. They help when you ride. Not everybody wears these types of liner short things, but I like them. And these ones are pretty reasonably priced from Pearl Izumi. A lot of these type of things will cost like 80 bucks or 60 bucks. You buy a pair of shorts and these together and it's 120 bucks. These are much more reasonable. I think I bought 5 pairs of these about 2 years ago. So they're holding up pretty strong. I can't think of any of them that have fallen apart yet. My go-to socks are also from Kettle. I just love everything they make, and these socks are really comfortable. You put them on, they feel good. Merino wool from New Zealand. They've got extra padding and reinforcement in the toe and the heel, and it actually matters. You actually feel the difference. I don't always wear gloves, but when I do, I wear my BKXC hand-up gloves. These are pretty much sold out. There might be 2 or 3 of these left, so click the link, buy them, sell me out of these things. They're just nice and simple gloves. They go on easy, you pull them on. You got the rag here for a runny nose or wiping your brow. The sizing on these always feels a little small to me, so I would go up a size if you can. I wear double XL gloves mostly, and all other sizes and stuff like that. And these are still a little bit tight in the thumbs, but then you kind of break them in and get used to it, and they're good to go. How about a rain jacket? This is my Gore R3 weatherproof, waterproof, I forget what they claim. You know, whenever you look these jackets up, they almost never claim like actual waterproof. They always kind of like get around it a little bit. But this has been amazing. I've featured this particular jacket. I've had it for years and years now. It's been with me to China and Japan and all over the world, and it's really good. I think this was a running specific jacket, but it works really good for mountain biking. It's got all the vents and all that stuff. The hood would not fit over a normal mountain bike helmet like some of my past rain jacket-ish type things like from Pearl Izumi. Was really nice that the hood actually went over the helmet, but those weren't as waterproof as this thing is. I hate riding in the rain because it means that my filming day is going to be ruined and that I'm not going to be able to get a video out. But when I have to ride in the rain, this makes it a lot easier. How about a little knee pad action, and be thankful that there's no smell-o-vision on this video. These are the 7 IDP Sam Hill knee pads, and man, they are really good. I think I got them at the beginning of the year, maybe February or so, and we're rolling into October now, and they've almost like kind of worn out. They've gotten really stretched out in the thigh here. They kind of have started slipping a lot more. So I really like the form and the fit of these knee pads, but it almost feels like a disposable item that you're gonna have to buy once a year. I think knee pads are pretty much like that. Gloves can be that way a lot, especially if you hit the ground with your gloves and actually crash. So just like knee pads, if you're actually hitting the ground and crashing with your knee pads, they get a lot more disposable, they get a lot more beat up. All that being said, when these things actually do meet their end of life, I'm just gonna buy them again because I actually really like them. The fit, the feel is awesome. And if that means spending 90 bucks a year on knee pads that are doing a good job of protecting my knees and keeping me not hobbling around, I think it's worth it. Let's get on down to the feet now. I wear the Ride Concepts Transition Clip. It has all the cool factor of looking like it's a shoe for flats when you can still clip in. As I hold these up to my face, which I rarely do, I'm actually very surprised how good shape they're in. There's obviously a couple little superficial scuffs and scratches, but the wear out factor is almost non-existent. One of my buddies who runs flats loves these shoes, and he was like, man, the sole just runs out way too fast, so you have to buy 1 pair a year. But these bad boys with the clips, I do not see any sign of these slowing down. And that's pretty important when you spend 160 bucks on a pair of shoes. But I'm pretty blown away right now. I see a little bit of wear up here at this side, but good stuff. I think it just might be where my foot is rubbing on the crank every once in a while. Maybe that's what's doing the damage. Thumbs up for these bad boys too. I don't wear this big old Evoc Explorer Pro 30 very often anymore, but it's a good bag. If you want a big old bag to carry around all kinds of stuff throughout the day, it works well. There's not even though this back thing has a ventilation, there's not a ton of back ventilation, just like with every pack, but this thing is good if you're taking on a big, long day where you need 3 liters of water and a bunch of food. It's got helmet carry straps, which I've used many times doing hike-a-bikes in Spain. Really good accessible side pockets, and it stays on your back really well. When you tighten it down, it doesn't flop around that much. So here's the bag I switched to now for most of my rides, the Osprey Savu 5. And if you remember, when I first started this channel, I always wore an Osprey pack because that pack just lasted forever, and then I kind of wanted something bigger. Now I kind of wanted something smaller. While I may have big hands, I am still a small-waisted gentleman, and I really have to crank this thing down to keep it from flopping around on my body. And almost when I wear it above my waist a little bit, which isn't the best, but if you wear it right at your waist and you cinch it down, I get a lot of rubbing on like the little pelvic bone, I guess it is, kind of that side. It's just, there's not much fat right there, so it just rubs me bad. Some may say I bring too much with me on every single ride. Those same people will be thanking me when I'm on the side of the trail 5 miles from nowhere fixing their flat. I can pack in a good amount of sugary snacks, my tool roll with all kinds of various stuff, a pretty big pump, and a tube that's been in here way too long and probably has a hole in it because whenever you store a tube in a bag, it's just gonna rub and rub and rub and eventually get a little micro hole in it. It's fine. Always keep a little cold hard cash in the bag as well. $15 doesn't go as far as it used to, but it'll get you out of a little jam. The biggest worry, of course, is going from 3 liters of hydration to not as many liters of hydration. You can store water bottles in here really nicely too. That flips right over the top and secures it. So you can store 2 bottles and then you put a bottle on your bike. But what I've been doing lately is just drinking a nice big bottle of liquid before I go out on my rides. So I'm already a liter in of hydration instead of like, you know, showing up to the ride completely dehydrated and going for a ride and then being like, oh, I need all this water. So far, the strategy has worked out really good. And of course, in the van after the ride, I've got a couple drinks in the fridge. Laundry's done. This is the 9-inch Virtue Hybrid Short from Kettle Mountain Apparel. These are my favorite pair of shorts right now. I've worn a lot of shorts in the past and these are coming out ahead. It always comes down to this part getting hung up on your saddle. And of course that does still happen with every type of short, but I can keep these hiked up a little bit nicer and cinch down a little bit nicer to stay above my waist so I don't have all this floppage getting caught on the saddle in the most horrific of sections. You got zipper pockets on the front and back right sides and then regular pockets on the front and back left sides. This is the charcoal color and I love it so much. It's like my favorite color of apparel. It's kind of, it's just perfect. The old sand color does go well with various things, but I just got 2 more of the charcoal color on the way. What full face helmet do I wear? When's the last time I wore a full face helmet? Where do I keep my full face helmet? I don't think I have any answers for that question. Is it up here? Found it! This is the Troy Lee Designs Stage full face helmet. It's got MIPS, but it's basically a regular helmet. It's very lightweight compared to the other real deal full face helmets that offer much more protection. So basically for me, I'll even wear my half shell, my regular white Fox helmet at the bike park most of the time because I like the full face. It's okay, but it doesn't do much for me. I don't feel like, oh, I've got the full face on, now I can go. Oh, I've got more body armor on, now I can go. I feel about the same wearing this or wearing my regular helmet. So it's nice, it works, but it rarely comes out. And of course that will all change when I crash and knock some of my teeth out and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wear a full face helmet on every single ride. A lot of people do that and to each their own. I think that's totally fine if it makes you feel comfortable and good and actually saves you from plastic surgery. It's a good thing. And before we go, I've got one more item that I have to talk about. It kind of doesn't fit into any category, but I get asked about this thing all the time and people are like, what was the video where you showed the thing? This is my little carrying case from Cat 5 Gear. Sarah got it for me. as a present, and I take it everywhere now. It's so nice to have your helmet, your knee pads, my shoes. I can put my GoPro stuff in here. I can carry a lot of stuff in this bag and take it from place to place. And if I always know I am keeping it in this bag, then I know I pick up the bag, I move it around, I'm good to go. I don't even know how I used to manage everything before I had this bag. I would hang my helmet up in the van, and then I would like tuck my shoes in a different spot, and then my knee pads would kind of go over here. It's just, this is so much better. So that's everything I wear on a mountain bike ride, and I can honestly say it's a thumbs up across the board. There are things that annoy me about almost everything, but I gave you my cons, I gave you my pros, and always I'm switching through stuff. So I'll switch to a different pair of shoes or different bag or a different helmet eventually, but for right now, this stuff is working really good. So hopefully that gave you one or two ideas for an upgrade that you can make or a downgrade you can make or something to put on your old holiday wish list, which is coming a lot faster than we can ever imagine, as always. But until then, do me a favor, go ride something new, and maybe I'll see you on the trail.